Welcome, welcome everyone. Welcome back to this creative life with Aurora B. I'm Aurora B. So, what's new in this creative life? Well, besides my new haircut, which some of you might notice, I took a trip to LA last weekend and got to fill my cup full of creativity at LACMA, which is the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. There was a great exhibit on Black portraiture, another good exhibit on Chinese art. It was an exchange with some different Chinese artists, and actually it was really interesting for me because there was one piece in particular from around 2001 by a Chinese artist, and it was made out of Chinese newspaper, was used as the background, which really intrigued me because I lived in China in 2001 and used Chinese newspaper in the background of a bunch of my paintings. And it really made me think about how as unique as us creatives like to be, it's true. Like they say in Steal Like an Artist, that really everything's been done, but it hasn't maybe been done by you. So it was interesting for me to see that connection with that Chinese artist from a similar period in time, even though I had thought at the time that it was, completely my novel idea, but that was me at age 20. And besides that, there was another really interesting exhibit from European female photographers and an exhibit on Indigenous Mexican culture, but influenced by a Mexican. It was a Mexican American artist who was influenced by Indigenous Mexican styles of paintings. And there was also just the regular collection, so many great pieces to see. If you're in LA, obviously go check it out, but just, keep going to art museums. If you like them. For me, art museums really help replenish my creativity. I always leave thinking of a million things that I want to do, and I'm just inspired by the creativity in human life in this world. We're here to create if we're called to do so, and obviously plenty of people are doing it and have done it. Museums are filled with it, and for me, going on a Sunday, especially like I did, it's like my church. Museums are my church. That's where I get my cup filled. So yeah, my trip to LA was great. I have started it's a new series, but really a continuation of my COVID series, but I want to do a series of 5 in a slightly larger format, about the size of that one, but done in 2022. And because right now we have the Beijing Olympics, and when those Olympics were announced in 2015, I did a whole series. I had my solo show. So I want to be making sure to capture the moment when those Olympics actually happen, so that I can have sort of that parallel comparison. So in the series into 2015, it's all these Chinese newspaper articles about the 2022 Olympics set in my neighborhood in Beijing. And now this series is going to be a 5-piece series set in my neighborhood here in San Diego. For the most part, one of the reference photos I chose was from a little up north in Orange County. And then the newspaper articles, some of them at least, are about those Beijing 2022 Olympics. So parallels, folks. Also, I want to, I've said I'm going to be here to bring you ideas. So I just started with my new peer mentor from Shoebox Arts. It's my second one, and I just want to let you all know that Shoebox Arts has this project where you can get a peer artist mentor, and you're matched for 3 months, and you can call and discuss how you want that mentorship to work. And it's really great. The last time I did it, I ended up, we did a pop-up show. I sold some work. So I've just had my new meeting this week with my new peer mentor for the project. And we're really looking forward to sharing some accountability and collaborations. And I'll put it again, Shoebox Arts. You don't have to be in the LA region. You can be, I think, anywhere in the world. And for now, it's a free program. So if you want some accountability, some advice, an art buddy, go ahead and check that out, because we all need community and connection. Okay, so that is pretty much up for my updates. Print on demand, I don't have a ton of updates, except for that I have been putting up more images, and I've had a couple sales, but not a ton in the last couple of weeks for whatever reason, but I'm in the game. And I actually ordered another set of swatches from Spoonflower, even though I haven't sold any of my first, but I feel like my patterns have become more complex and interesting. And now I really want to be able to promote those. But in order to sell on Spoonflower, as I discussed, you need to get the swatches. So here I am, I'm ordering the second set of swatches without having sold anything on Spoonflower. But I'm still really in it. And I am thinking about signing up for an immersion course with Bonnie Christine. If you followed her, well, then you obviously know who she is, but she has an immersion course in surface design. I'm thinking about taking it. It's pretty intensive though. And the baby could come during the course, but I think I'm going to wing it. And that got me thinking that I have taken a lot of art courses, and some of them now online with the pandemic, which was not a thing I used to do too often. But I just thought I could maybe do some course reviews for you guys, because that might be of interest to you. I know a lot of people online are offering courses. Some of them are in the thousands of dollars, some in the tens of thousands of dollars. And I know when I'm looking to take a course, I want to see if I know anyone else has taken them and their review. Now, one of the things I have to say is that, of course, everyone's selling their course when they do their kind of launch. Maybe they're giving a free deep dive or a master class. They're going to show you some testimonials from people that took the course, but obviously they're going to show you the testimonials from the people that really excelled and succeeded. And what I've often noticed is that most of the people in those highlight reels will come to you and say, well, for the art course, let's say, well, yeah, I mean, I was making sales, and then I took this course and I made more sales and it paid for the program. And you think, well, you're making sales, then you make more sales and it just pays for the cost of the program, then it's like you're making negative money, because that's the business cost. And you're also thinking, can this help me? So I just thought, if I can do some course reviews that, for the moment at least, aren't sponsored, it might be of interest to you. With that being said, I know most of the courses I've taken have a caveat that when you take the course, you have to sign a non-disclosure agreement about, well, one, obviously you can't release the content of the course, the specific content, but also that you can't give any negative press release. So, while I'm going to give, an honest review, or else I'm just not going to do the review. That's also something to keep in mind when you're Googling, how is this course? And, you don't see any negative stories, but of course you don't, because there's going to be lawyers that come after you if you do. So I want everyone to keep that in mind. So as I said, I will give you honest course reviews. I will therefore kind of either pick courses that I think might be worth your time, or just maybe it's a neutral review, or I don't know, if I check and there's no non-disclosure, you never know, maybe I just might go slam a course. I don't know. I don't think that's in my nature. I tend to look at the best side of things. So hopefully, you weren't too bored with my reviews. If you were my reviews with my life, if you're only here to see the review of the course. But today we are reviewing I will say it's called Keep Your Butt in the Studio, but that butt starts with an A, by Jessica Serran. This is a 12-week course. I think it might be offered twice a year. I'm not sure when the next time it's being offered. The course is 12 weeks, but at least when I did it, everyone pretty much got half a year of support. If you signed up early, which I did not, you got maybe a whole year of support in terms of these are twice I think twice a week, or maybe it's just once a week, but there are 2 different calls you can join. That's it. Coaching calls. So the course content takes 12 weeks, but you can sign on to coaching calls. The basics of this course, as I said, to keep your booty in the studio, is really, I think, for artists that have struggled to keep art consistently in their life. You know, maybe you did art for 2 years and then you stopped doing art. And then 7 years later, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a full-time artist. And you do it for 2 years and then you stop. And then 10 years go by and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm way too old because I'm 30 and I do art for a year and then I stop, and then you freak out and on. And you see even people in this course that are 70 and they're like, I've been doing art all my life, but I'm still not really doing art. And, you know, whether the problem could be many, right? I think most of us, we think the problem is just time management. And that was something I talked about in the last episode, you know, kind of juggling it all. But I think the good part about Jessica Serran's courses in general is she really goes deep into the whys. You know, what is really stopping you? You know, if you do art for 2 years and then you stop and then you start again, yes, it might be because you got busy, but you probably still had 10 minutes twice a week. You probably had 1 hour every 2 months. You know, why did you stop? And there's something behind that. If you're interested in a course like this, like her courses, then obviously, you know, and probably anyone listening to this YouTube channel, you probably didn't want to stop and you're probably disappointed you stopped. And if you started, you don't want to stop again. So uncovering these reasons can help you. The idea, at least, is to keep going. And I think, like every course, this is a pretty ambitious course, as I said, sort of 12 weeks to 6 months. And it goes kind of like a life overhaul, you know, everything from what do you want out of your life? You know, not just, you know, how to go to the studio and make some art, but, you know, discovering your why. Like Jillian Michaels is always, you know, about your why. She's a fitness coach, if you don't know. So, you know, Jessica Serran really helps you get to that why, and then kind of gets to the why have you failed in the past to consistently create art? You know, the course is not about creating good art necessarily. It is about creating authentic art, because the idea is if you're really creating your authentic art, you will want to keep creating it. So, you know, was it effective? Well, as you can see, I'm creating art and still creating art. So that's good. I was creating a lot of art when I signed up for the program. I hadn't been selling a lot, but I had been creating a lot for a year and a half, maybe, before I was taking the course. But I had been one of those people that had taken several breaks where I was creating art, but not very often, or just kept packing everything up. Some of it was because I moved almost every year. So, you know, that kind of, you know, when you're moving, and not just down the street, you know, I was moving to a whole different continents. And sometimes just living out of a suitcase. So I would put things in storage or just get rid of all my art, just give it away, just goodbye, I'm going to start again. But, you know, there obviously had been some reasons I had stopped, and I didn't want to stop again. And I thought, well, if I take this course, then at least at a minimum, I am going to keep making art because I'll have committed to keep making art. And so I did that. My she talks about part of it is the object of desire, which, basically like, what do you want to do in the 3-month project? And I wanted, I started with very ambitious. I wanted to do a lot of things, but I whittled it down to, I wanted to create 10 pieces in a series that I had just started as a result of the kind of precursor deep dive course. And I wanted to create at least 10. I wanted at least 2 of them to be bigger pieces. And then I wanted to have those in a show. Partway through the course towards the end, I was right on track with all my pieces, but I felt like I was really churning them out. And I was on track because I'm the kind of person that I make the commitment I'm going to do it. I kind of thought, well, when I'm just churning them out, I'm kind of, maybe the quality is suffering. So I actually made a commitment to myself through one of the coaching calls to slow down and take a bit longer. So I took till the end of, I don't know, the 5 or 6 months to create the 10 pieces. Now, in terms of kind of like how we would talk about success, I would say I have had more success showing the art that I was making from before the course. I had some pretty good success selling some work with exhibitions that I had that were just on in the first few weeks of the course. I'm not sure. I think, a couple of things happened towards the end of the year. Because I was going to be traveling, I didn't enter my work in as many shows, and some shows I was going to be in went virtual again because of COVID. I haven't had as much success selling my fine art virtually. My print on demand, yes, but my fine art, I've had much better luck in person. I think a lot of it is kind of the textures and experience of the work. It's much more personal. So I wouldn't say for me that the outcome of the course was anything financial. Also, this new 5 series that I was talking about at the beginning of the episode is kind of more a continuum of the series that I was doing before the course. That being said, the 10 pieces relate. They are my nose and mouth people. Show here, and actually right there is one. And these are kind of humanoid figures that only have noses and mouths because those were the body parts we couldn't see for so long. But at the time I started, it was before the Delta wave, and people were just, especially in California, I know everywhere it's been a bit different. People were starting to uncover their nose and mouth more and more. And it was kind of this beautiful thing that we were celebrating. But it was also something that was causing us to freak out. So, there's something kind of dark and disturbing about it, but it was a sense of a moment I wanted to capture. And as I said, towards the beginning of the course, I had this pop-up scheduled through Shoebox Art, and I got to show the first few that I had finished, but actually just as we were going to show it, it almost had to get canceled because Delta was starting. And so, well, originally I was sort of like, these are more celebratory, these are figures touching each other, we're celebrating like the reemergence of the nose and mouth. The scary part kind of came to take back over, and now, at least in California, things are about to change, but it went to not only did the mask have to go back on, even if you've had 3 doses of the vaccine, but now not cloth masks, you have to have a KN95 or an N95. So, the nose and mouth feature, let's just say, continued in some ways longer than I thought. But also for me, I just felt like the series kind of came to its conclusion. I don't know, I liked showing them at the pop-up alongside sort of my, COVID living rooms. So you have, on the one hand, these pieces that are showing the solitude that we had, where there was nobody and we were just in our houses, in our living room. I know that wasn't the experience for everyone. I know there are essential workers that had to get out there and be around people, but there are whole groups of people, and me included, that spent so much more time by themselves inside. So it went from the solitude set of COVID pieces to then kind of a set all about people, and in some ways, celebration but scary. So I liked showing them together. I think I would like to in the future. Another thing I'm doing with my peer mentor right now is I'm looking to identify galleries for a future solo exhibition. I want to focus on my COVID pieces, but I'm going to have to make a decision on whether to pitch shows that include sort of both sets, or just to stick to one, because they are a bit different. And as I said, I have not had as much success in terms of group shows getting the series I did in the Keep Your Butt in the Studio class in any shows. I haven't really aimed to sell any pieces that much. I mean, they are for sale, but I haven't pitched it too much because it is only a series of 10, and part of my thought in doing this series was to have it for a show. So obviously if I sold off of the pieces, I just have to create 5 more, maybe create 15 if I want the show to just be them. And I don't know, that maybe I will do more of these new nose and mouth people in the future, but I just felt like they came to an end. I made my commitment to myself. I think if I hadn't done the course, they might have been a one-off piece or 2 pieces, and then that would have been that. And would I have kept making art? I think so. And maybe I would have made more of my other art and been in a different position. But am I glad I took the course? Yes. Did I decide to take the next course? There was a recent deep dive, and I listened to the deep dive. I didn't actually do all the things you're supposed to do if you had wanted to. I mean, some of it was more about selling art, and I'm just doing a lot of things right now. So I really liked getting all the advice in the free deep dive, but when it came to, I think it's the becoming internationally known course, that's a much more significant investment kind of course. Many thousands of dollars. And it's not really where my headspace is right now because the baby's coming. This is not the year to do it. So I did not choose to do that course, but I would recommend the Keep Your Butt in the Studio course if you are the kind of person that wants accountability. The coaching sessions are great. I do not like getting up at 6 a.m. And that was the time when the latest one was. The other one was happening at 1 a.m. or something for me, because Jessica Serran is based in Prague, I believe. So I didn't attend all of the sessions in the morning. And even when I did, I feel like I couldn't get my brain space around to personally receive as much coaching as I might have. But actually, I find I really benefit from just watching the other people get coached, maybe even more than when I'm on the call and thinking about, what am I going to say? And does my hair look funny at 6 a.m? Because I know someone else is going to be watching this call and that's going to be awkward and blah, blah, blah. So I really liked watching the 2 calls later. I would often watch them when I was exercising to my Jillian Michaels workouts, which again, this is an art channel, but I would recommend the fitness app by Jillian Michaels. Yes, I would. Been doing her workouts for years, and I'm not strong. I'm not saying that, but something about her approach, it really works with me. But here we're reviewing the art course. And so I would say if you like the idea of community, there's nice people in that particular course. It is a lot of people that have let their art practice go, which is why they're joining that. There are definitely artists that are way further along, and they are selling, they are professional artists, and they want a boost, which I think they can get. But there are a lot of people going from, amateur to emerging. So that's kind of what the course is aimed for and what you're getting in terms of a peer group. People are really nice, really supporting. It's great to see people on their different journeys. And as I said, for me, I really get a lot out of listening to other people be coached. And this program, like many, is lifetime. So right now I'm sort of actually going and working pieces of the process again. I'm stubborn. I work outside my own box. You know, I did everything that you're supposed to do. And some of the things were great. Other things I'm like, I tried that. Not for me, but I can see how those things would help other people. So yeah, if you like that kind of thing, if you want a community, if you want accountability, it's not the kind of course that's probably going to make your money back, because it's not about sales. I think you can get like a sale if you sign up early. There's like a sales challenge or something, and you know, you could make your goal in the 3 months to focus on sales, and then it would be a completely other thing. But it's really about, you know, keeping yourself in the art making mode, discovering what has stopped you in the past so that it doesn't stop you again, and just, you know, getting getting good at visioning, mindset. I love listening to mindset stuff. Let me tell you, I listen to so many podcasts and audio books about mindset just to keep my mindset positive. I find, you know, I get so much inspiration, and then, you know, you forget the gem and you stop and you have to start listening to it again. I even named one of my paintings here, that you are well, now I'm going to botch up the quote, but you know, you're the average of the 5 people that you spend time around. And I was in the middle of doing this piece when I named it that. And I made sure to have the right amount of people, because I wanted to remind myself of that quote. I hear it all the time on the mindset podcasts and audiobooks. And then I forget. And then whenever I hear it, I say, okay, I've got to remember this, because, you know, you need to be intentional about who you're spending your time with. And as some people say, if you can't seem to, because it's COVID, go physically spend time with those people, you can even, you know, spend time putting those people into your ear, because, you know, that stuff is going to soak in, and it's going to affect you and who you are. So, yes, I say overall, the score is recommend the course if you have money to spare and it's really important to you to keep doing your art. So thank you, Jessica Serran. You definitely helped me. I'm definitely thinking about doing another course in the future. And as I said to all of my YouTube channel watchers, that I'm signing up for another course, Bonnie Christine's Deep Dive. So look forward to an episode in the future where I tell you how that goes. And I might give you some reviews about some other courses I've done as well. I know I said we're doing print on demand, so I'll keep mentioning it. But for this week, no big updates on that, except if you are listening and you want to join me in Bonnie Christine's immersion course, go ahead and do so. I can't recommend it yet because I haven't taken it, but I have taken some of her Skillshare classes, and she's given me a lot of inspiration. I don't know Adobe Illustrator, and the class is all focusing on that. So I've been doing my stuff in Photoshop. So part of me taking the class is to learn Illustrator. All right, see everyone next time. Thank you for watching.